Hey everybody, welcome to G4G on YouTube. Today we are here with the first public alpha release of Marvel Avengers Alliance Redux. So what you see in this video is the steps that you are going to take in terms of downloading the zip file, extracting it to a folder, and actually running the game. So I'll be walking you guys through this from the very start. So a link to the game will finally be in the description. You'll download it somewhere on your computer, wherever it is that you would want to download is perfectly fine. And then these will be the steps to install it, quote unquote, and then play it. Because this game does not have any registry entries or anything, it doesn't actually install. It just simply resides on your hard drive wherever you choose to unzip it. If you are concerned about viruses, malware, adware, grayware, you can rest assured you will get none of that because this doesn't actually modify your system in any way, shape, or form. Plus, you will watch me do it, so you'll know this is not a hoax, this isn't bullshit, this isn't some sort of a Trojan or anything like that. It is actually the real game that you will get to play from the link below. Let me tell you guys, I happened to make a post in the Marvel Avengers Alliance Redux Facebook just a while ago where I linked the last video I had done when the game was live, which was my goodbye video. And between that and watching Black Panther earlier today, I was actually getting pretty emotional to think that you guys would be getting the same access to the game that I've had now for several months. This is a really big moment for people. I understand this is going to make a lot of people happy, but there's a few things I need to get out of the way first, just so that everybody understands. While I do videos on this, as well as Get Off My Lawn Gaming, aka Twig, as does people in other languages, none of us are actually the devs. We're doing video on it, but this is content being provided to us by the dev, which is Goofy Troll, aka Jason. The original dev who claimed to be starting this game up about a year ago, maybe 13-14 months ago, GLB, Gaming Life Beginner, is no more. This version shares nothing with his version. Since he never made any of it public, he never shared the code or anything. Nobody ever got to see what work he started on and then build from there. So we don't even know if he ever did any work whatsoever, other than what could have easily been a Photoshop screen way back when, about a year ago. So this is being released on the 2-year anniversary of the game dying. And as you remember, the game existed from 2012 essentially as an Avengers movie tie-in, and it got a life of its own because it was so good. It even dealt with mutant characters for the first couple of years until Cannonball became the last of the mutants the game ever got, and then they basically only dealt with the MCU from there. So what you'll be downloading is this file called MAA Redux 0010. You want to have some kind of an unzipping utility on your PC, whether it's WinZip or the free version called 7-Zip. You'll just click on it, you'll extract it. You want to make sure that use folder names is checked or the equivalent in 7-Zip. I'm going to point it to my MAA directory, which already exists, and you'll see that it goes ahead and unzips everything. You see in PNG files, shockwave files, and MP3s, the executable XMLs, etc., etc. When it's done, you'll have this one called MAA Redux 0.0.10, and you'll notice the date of 9/29. This is the folder you will be working off of. This is here in this is my games hard drive, and I have it in my Marvel Avengers Alliance folder, and then I'm keeping an old version just in case, and I have old zips just in case. You'll go into it and there'll be some files right here, an executable and a shockwave file. you'll want to run, for most people, the executable. If you're on a Mac, you can run the Shockwave file if you have Shockwave on your Mac. This is the little message that Goofy's put in under the welcome text. You'll see subfolders over here. When you go into these folders, you will actually find some files that you could use elsewhere. So if you wanted to go on Facebook and make Spider-Woman your avatar on Facebook or something, you can lift that file from here, or Colossus ability, or Storm ability, or I think that's Phoenix's Fireball. You could use any of these. You could use these MP3s and everything. The reason why you see two Thors is because this is the correct Thor, and this was the one that was accidentally being used in the betas. So there's a background image. There's a font. You can right-click this font and actually install it to your system if you like it. You don't necessarily have to. It's a font being used for the game, and then there's the XMLs. So, as you watch me unzip it, I have not tried this version yet myself. I'll be doing it with you guys. If you get this Windows Defender screen popping up, that's okay. Hit more info and hit run anyway. Close that out. And here's a little beginning splash screen. Welcome back, Agent. The time has come. We need your help once again. And this is what it looks like now. So people understand this is not the final version. This is an alpha. If you're not used to the gaming world, there's alphas, and then there's betas, and then there's final releases. Betas sometimes are called pre-release if you're looking at Steam, or early access, whereas alphas are very rough versions of the game. This version of the game will not have progress saved, but it allows you to kind of get your fix, and it also catches you guys up with the people who produce videos on this. So now you have access to everything we have. Some things are clickable, some things are not. If you go to the store, this is a mock-up of the pages that will return. And I've actually found out that several of my people have used, or not, excuse me, not several of my people, several of the people working on this have used my old content to reproduce a lot of these screens over here and get them the way that they were back in the game. And it's very, very useful to know that YouTube has actually kind of become an archive for us on this. So as you can see, the team screen is being rebuilt. All was the screen for the characters you have. Recruit is for what is still out there. No, there will not just be Mockingbird in this. Please don't be stupid enough to ask that question. But as you can see, all of the class icons are being rebuilt. People in the training bays, the ISOs, the EISOs, the AISOs on equipment and gear and abilities, actions, bio, recruiting, so on and so forth. This currency will not actually be live. Again, like, understand this is the alpha. Don't ask the dingbat questions like, oh my god, are we going to start the game with 999 million? No. These are like placeholders. There is no progress saved in the alpha. Every time you launch the game, it will always be the exact same thing. From the day 1 that you installed it to the day 10 that you installed it, it will be the same. There is no progress. That will be coming later. However, what you could do is click these... I forget the name of this. A similar icon was like the Foley's Heart Tickler or something, but I forget, the Laser Fist or something. But you can pick a few things over here. So we're gonna go with Satan's Heroes. Oh, it's why is it skipping? Oh, there it goes. And we'll do all 6s for this. So this goes up, this goes down, and none of these work quite yet. But as you can see, that's Aunt May, J. Jonah Jameson, Iron Man, and I still think this is Lady Harkness, Agatha Harkness or something, if I remember correctly. And research is also available. This is another one of the things that happened to get recreated from one of my videos. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to do fight. Oh god, all Colossuses. This is going to be boring as hell. Oof. Okay, well. So, it may be a little loud when you first get it. In order to fix that, you can go to your Windows volume mixer, and you'll notice this one over here that says Adobe Flash 11. If you drop the volume of that, you will drop the volume of just the game and nothing else. So now it's a little bit more in line. That Jotun Ice Crafter has one of my favorite swing animations in the game. Not the overhead one, but the sidearm. So we've got some of the quick actions working. And you can't quite get the status effects yet, but as you can see, they have 1, 4, and 1, so they're out. The tooltip is still a little bit lacking. Pretty good crit there. This is, oof. This is like everybody's worst nightmare of the slowest fight in creation. Colossuses versus Jotuns. If you check out your task manager, you'll notice it's using a pretty good amount of CPU and memory. Kind of expected for Flash. You can always trim a few processes if you want to. I tend to run a pretty clean ship when it comes to extraneous processes, but you know, it's going to take a little bit out of your PC, but it shouldn't be too bad. And it should definitely not be any worse than what it did when you did the Facebook version of it. Enemies are a little slow to die at this point. That is one of the bugs people know about, and it's one of the ones that will be fixed. We'll try to take that Rhyme Frost out. This is going to be very interesting to see who wins, whether it's me or them, but it's going to be close. So a lot of people often ask, you know, is this going to have the progress that we did on Facebook? Am I going to have access to my characters? And more on that in a moment. So the answer is no. You will not have the access that you did back when it was on Facebook. As I've said in many videos, you wouldn't want us to, because that's access to personal data that existed on Facebook at the time. So believe me, you would not want us to have that level of access. What we'll be releasing is the code base of the game when it died 2 years ago. In other words, whatever state the game was in when it died back in 2016, that is the code base or the core of the game that will be used. Only the vanilla characters will be available to the start, because Goofy is going to honor the timeline of the... Okay, so he decided... Oof, the one guy decided to clobber my dead body. So you will not have the characters that were available when the game died. However, they're essentially available. Goofy is building out the game in the same timeline as it existed. So you're going to have the vanilla characters first. You're going to have Spec Ops 1 with Mockingbird and everything like that. Chances are it'll still be the original rules of the Mockingbird Spec Ops, the one where you had to get the stars in order to get her. I don't know if he plans to make that more in line with how the rest of the Spec Ops work with tasks and everything. I don't really know. That one's not up to me. However, to answer questions like would we have Cloak and Dagger, would we have the Worthy, you know, would we have Warlock and White Tiger, yes, they will eventually show up. Nerfs and buffs, this is another question people ask. Are things going to be balanced? The answer is yes. Goofy will be trying to make older characters that suffered from some power creep a little bit more viable. But are we going to sit there and... oh dear. I think we're going to have to relaunch it. Yep, okay. That seemed to freeze it up. So are we going to like nerf the Worthy? Are we going to remove them? Are we going to nerf Cloak and Dagger and remove them or anything? The answer is no. They will be how the game ended. Will we buff Heroic Age Iron Fist, or HAIF, as a lot of people call it? No. However, that potentially will come later. We do know people right at the end of the game, like Warlock and White Tiger, they definitely will be tweaked a little bit, because we know at that point Playdom had just given up, and they were just throwing a lot of fun our way, so to speak. They will probably be tackled, but the rest of them will probably be exactly in place. So you're not going to have nerfed Worthy. They will be in the game. They're not like going to be removed or anything like that. And in terms of Spec Ops and the seasons and everything, they will follow the release schedule of the original game. As you can see, quick actions from some previous videos are working. We'll also put a link to the Discord and the Facebook group in the description, along with the download link. If you happen to be an artist or a writer in any way, shape, or form, your skills can definitely be used by this product. If you happen to be very good with sprites, you are probably the most useful thing for us right now, because any characters that the community could want added to the game definitely would require a sprite base. If it was a uniform for an existing character, that's a little bit different. That's a little easier to do. Somebody has already done a new uniform for Storm. But a full-on brand new character like Silver Surfer or Namor or something like that is going to require, you know, a good skeleton base first. Then you could worry about like uniforms and everything. So recharge stamina is working again, although I don't know that I force walled. I wouldn't have thought she'd be out of the force wall already. That was a little weird. Would I start streaming this again? Probably not until there's progression, because this is, you know, we don't have an agent, we don't have gear. Anything I do is no different than what you would do for it. So streaming it isn't necessarily a whole lot of fun. However, when we get progressions and we can start building some interesting teams and everything like that, that's probably when I might return to some stuff on Twitch. But for right now, you know, I would think it would be boring to do this, especially for anything greater than, you know, 10 minutes or so. So we'll change a few more heroes, and then we will wrap it up. I can't think of too many more questions that we've often seen. Another one is, will it be mobile? Chances are not, especially for quite some time. For iOS, you would have to have a jailbroken device, because iOS is not very good with installing IPAs, which is files, iOS files, outside of the iTunes store at this point in time. They used to be a little bit better. They're not anymore. For Android, you can definitely install an alternative APK very, very easily, but to convert this over from Windows file structure to an Android file structure would be really, really tough. And chances are it won't happen right now. So you're going to have to consider this mostly for the PC, slightly for the Mac, and for you Linux or Unix users, if you've got a way of playing a Shockwave, possibly. Or just run a Windows emulator. No, it's so good to see Spider-Man with quick actions again. Let's see if we could get this guy webbed. Odd, he didn't take a debuff from that. As you can see, character list targeting is working. Targeting up here isn't. So you've got two choices. You could click on the list on the right, or you could click the actual character. A lot of people remember that was a very, very big thing around the season where Angel had come out, because a lot of people put Archangel right in the middle and his wings were so big that you would often go to click on a character out on the field and you would wind up clicking on Angel's wings and pick him instead. Yay, Sif got a kill. Best legs in the business. As you can see, the debuffs are going out, like combo setup and pain train. They do seem to be getting listed twice, I think, but that's not particularly that bad. I've always thought Sif should be able to cause bleeding with her sword attacks, but hey, that's what Black Knight is for. Black Knight wouldn't enable her to cause bleeding. Oof, this is going to be another tight battle. Now you have to remember, you might be like, wow, are these mobs overtuned? Why are they hurting so much? Remember, our characters don't have stat ISOs on them. So they are essentially level 1 virgins, really, is the way to think of it. I mean, they are straight off the boat. And Spider-Man gets the kill. So there you go, guys. This is the game as it is now. This is what is downloadable. A link will be in the description, along with links to the Discord and the Facebook group. If you attempt to join the Facebook group, you must answer all of the questions upon entry. And you don't want to apply and then come back to them. You want to answer them right the same minute that you apply to get in. If you don't answer the questions, myself and the other admins will reject you. It is the least you could do to be part of this group, is to answer the questions that we put out there. So here you go, guys. You are finally able to catch up to what the beta testers have been, or the alpha testers really, have been able to do. You now have what we have, and this is a sign of things to come. Things will eventually get back to where they were when the game released. And by the way, if you think it looks a little pixelated, if you run it back in Windows mode, you can see a lot of the pixelation definitely does go away, and it looks a little bit better. So, welcome everybody to the public alpha. Really glad you're here. Feel free to ask any questions down in the comments, provided they're not stupid questions. And also visit us on Facebook and Discord. See everybody. Agent AP Johnson out.